In 1991, the decomposing body of a child was discovered inside a cooler along a parkway in Manhattan, New York. She came to be known as Baby Hope. But it would take 22 years before her true identity would be discovered. This is the very disturbing case of Baby Hope, a child that was failed by her own family. And I know that this is a true crime podcast, and it is expected to have gruesome details. But I have to give a warning that this case is about a very young child who had her life cut short in a very gruesome and senseless way. On July 23rd of 1991, the decomposing body of a child was found inside a navy blue cooler with a white top by construction workers. The cooler was located along the Henry Hudson Parkway in Manhattan, New York. Her body was in such an advanced stage of decomposition that identifying her would not be possible. She was found bound with both a rope and a Venerian blind cord. She was naked and placed in a fetal position with her hands pressed together. Her body was wrapped in a black garbage bag and placed inside the 30-quart ice cooler. The cooler was filled with unopened soda cans and water. Detectives believe that the water must have been ice at one point. She was malnourished and weighed only 28 pounds, and she was estimated to be around 3 to 5 years old. She is described with a height of 3 feet and 2 inches. Baby Hope was believed to be Hispanic and to have dark and wavy hair. In the cooler, they found a light green linen cloth, and on her hair, she had a yellow double ball ponytail tie. She had been asphyxiated and also had been the victim of sexual abuse. There were no signs of bruising or wounds. They believe her death had been a week prior, or at around July 18. A woman told authorities that she had seen a Hispanic man and woman carrying a cooler in the same location where the body was later found. She said that this was 9 days before the body was actually found. It's been reported that months after the body's discovery, suggestive images of a new child were located in New Jersey on Route 46. The child in the pictures resembled the description of Baby Hope. But no credible leads emerged at this point, and police had nothing else to go on. Because no one claimed the body and the case was still unsolved, by 1993 police provided money to have the child buried, and a casket was also donated. A public funeral was held and 200 people attended. One of the officers who was investigating the case gave a eulogy. Her headstone read, Baby Hope, July 23, 1991. The identity of this little girl is still unknown, and it featured a phone number for tips and information. In 2011, her body was exhumed to obtain DNA information, and in 2013, authorities reopened the case, requesting information from the public. On July of the same year, police handed out posters and flyers with a sketch of what they thought the child would look like. And they offered a $12,000 reward for information. I found one of the flyers in Spanish, and it reads, $12,000 reward for homicide. On Tuesday, 23rd of July, 1991, at around 12:45 dawn, a young girl of about 3 to 5 years old was found inside a cooler colors white and blue. In the Henry Hudson Parkway and Dickman Street, the cooler was placed in this location between July 13 and July 22nd of 1991, and it listed a number for tips and information. From this and some TV broadcasts of the case, police got a tip, but I did find different versions of this tip, with some similarities, so I think that they're talking about the same thing. In one article, it said that a tip came in from an anonymous woman who said that she had overheard a conversation 2 years prior between a mother and another person regarding the disappearance of the daughter. In another article, it says that a woman contacted authorities to tell them that she may know who Baby Hope's sister is. The woman who lived in Washington Heights had known for about 5 years that the family was from Mexico, but only came forward when the anniversary of the child's murder was publicized. 5 years. She sat on the information for 5 years. The tip or tips led authorities to Margarita Castillo, and Baby Hope was finally identified as Angelica Castillo. Her DNA and Margarita Castillo's DNA were tested and they matched. New York City Police Commissioner Ray Kelly was quoted saying, "A DNA match was made with the mother and the mother is cooperating." The mother told authorities that her abusive ex-husband, Genaro Ramirez, had run off with her 2 daughters in 1990, and she believed all 3 were in Mexico. But the mother and relatives never reported the girls missing. Genaro seems to have left Angelica in New York to stay with her female adult cousin, Balbina Juarez Ramirez, who lived in Astoria, Queens. Balbina's brother, Coronado Juarez, said that his sister cared for their cousins very well, even if she had to tie them to chairs at times and use corporal punishment to discipline them. He later admitted to torturing and raping Angelica before smothering her. Juarez was 30 years old at the time of the murder, and he said in his confession that he bound Angelica to a table in his sister's apartment and deprived her of food and water on multiple occasions. He claimed that he didn't intend to kill her, but then he suffocated her with a pillow after she cried out during her rape. When Juarez informed his sister that Angelica had died, his sister insisted that they disposed of her body. They placed her inside the cooler and disposed of her in Manhattan. The 52-year-old Coronado Juarez was arrested and charged with the murder of Baby Hope. He later went back on his confession stating that it was coerced and said that he lied and made everything up. He gave a different account of events in which he stated that his sister Balbina called him one day on his cell phone to say that Angelica had been running and had fallen down the stairs and she was dead. He said that he helped his sister stuff the girl into the cooler. He stated that the girl was not nude, and then they flagged down a taxi off the street and rode in silence to the park, where they left the cooler. He said that they never spoke about it again. But evidence supported his previous confession. He had given police details that had not been released to the public. For example, the exact position that Baby Hope was found. Police also suspected that Angelica may not have been Juarez's only victim. As for his sister, I couldn't find the exact date, but she had died a long time ago before the body was identified. On October 2013, Angelica's older sister, Laurencita, or Lorena Ramirez, I believe her name is Laurencita, but she goes by Lorena, she gave an interview to the New York Post. She was quoted saying, quote, "When my mom saw the drawings, she said Angelica would have looked just like me if she were alive. She said, I look like her." End quote. And I have to agree, to me she does resemble the sketch that was made for her young sister. On 2013, the year of the interview, Lorena was 27 years old, and she reported that she didn't find out until age 11 that she had a sister who had been murdered. She was told this by her younger sister, who had previously lived with their father. When she returned to live with the rest of the family, that's when she told Lorena about Angelica. Lorena says that she had no idea of the Baby Hope case until she saw the case on the news, and she describes having this feeling in her stomach and thinking this could be her sister. She had confirmation about her feeling whenever NYPD came to her house to ask her about her sister, and that's when she found out more about the circumstances surrounding her sister's murder. There are so many unanswered questions about this case, but what has been reported in multiple articles is that her father was an abusive man, and he took her two younger sisters, Maribel and Angelica, with him and away from their mother in 1990. Her mother, Margarita Castillo, believed that they were in Mexico, and Lorena said that her mother also told her that when Angelica went missing, she tried really hard to find her. But different relatives would tell her mother different stories and tell her to look in different places for her daughter. But when she did, she was never there. But what is hard to believe is if her mother was looking so hard for Angelica, why she never called the police? Sure, that's what everybody would do, right? Your child goes missing, you call the police, the sooner the better. Or if not her mother, what about other members of the family? Of course, Lorena was so young, but what about aunts, uncles, or neighbors? No one reported Angelica missing. I did read some reports saying that the reason for this is because a lot of Angelica's family members were undocumented immigrants, and they thought that if an investigation regarding the disappearance of Angelica would be open, the police would uncover this, and many of them would be deported. It's hard to know exactly what you would do if you were in somebody else's shoes. But I feel like and hope that most people would see that finding their child is more important, especially since she was believed to have been taken out of the country. Wouldn't you want both countries to be searching for them? Not just her, but her other daughter as well. In fact, Margarita did receive a lot of criticism from people around her community because she didn't report her daughter missing. And in an interview, Margarita did give some confusing details. She stated that she knew a neighbor who lived near the Astoria apartments in New York, and this person would give her updates on her daughters. But if this is true, it contradicts what she had said previously, that she believed that her daughters were in Mexico. She also said that about 12 to 14 years prior to 2013, she learned that Balbina Juarez Ramirez had died, and someone called her to let her know that she needed to pick up her daughter. Not daughters, just the one daughter. This will be Maribel. And at this point, she said that she realized that there was something wrong because there was no mention of Angelica. Margarita then went to the apartments to ask about her daughters, but she didn't get any answers. Instead, Coronado Juarez confronted her and asked her to pay for the time that he and his sisters supported her daughters. He told her that once he left for Mexico, and when he returned, he only saw one of the girls, and he was told that the other girl had died, but he didn't give her any more information. It's been said that Margarita had 10 children, and she said that she believed that her daughter was given away to a different family. Perhaps she thought that Angelica was with a different family in a better situation, in a better place. But it's really hard to feel bad for the mother. Even after she heard from Coronado that her daughter might be dead, and after she got Maribel back, she still didn't contact authorities for help. she still didn't report anything wrong with her not being able to see Angelica for so long. It feels like there's more to this story and things don't seem to add up. And I believe that more people should be charged, but I don't think anybody else was. Coronado Juarez died in the hospital in Rockland County. He was being held in protective custody while awaiting the trial for the murder. And to my knowledge, no one else has been charged in the murder of little Angelica. This case made me so mad. It is unbelievable that no one came forward for so long, and it's hard to imagine what type of life little Angelica had, and honestly her siblings as well. Cases like this are hard to talk about because it's about a child, but it is important to do so. It only took one person to come forward and solve the case, even though it took this person 5 years to provide this tip. There are ways to provide information and stay anonymously. And even if you doubt that the information you have will lead anywhere, it is important that the authorities make that decision. They have to be the ones that make the decision to investigate a tip further. Remember, they have access to more information than we do. And a tip that you think that will lead nowhere could actually help solve a case. I wish I had more information about Angelica, like her favorite color, her favorite game, things that I can tell you about her, but I don't. I couldn't find much information about her childhood, about her when she was a baby. I didn't even find an actual picture of her. And this is very sad. I think that says a lot about the type of life that she had and the type of people that were taking care of her. But Angelica did have people that cared about her. People in her community, they cared so much for Baby Hope and they wanted answers. They wanted to know who did this to her and who she was. Some say that this case did stick with them for a long time and they would research to see if there was anything new about it. So Baby Hope did have people that cared about her. From people in her community to the detectives that never gave up on her case and reopened it time and time again. Baby Hope did have people that care about her, even though it wasn't the people that she trusted. Sadly, this is all I know about the Baby Hope case. Thank you so much for listening, and please come back next week for another case.